Sunday.
It is time
Still
to
in the
get
capital of entertainment, but exactly where he is, no one knows. A young girl is gunned down in the streets of North Las Vegas. Police say she was caught in the crossfire. Air warnings. The air we breathe may be a bit dusty over the next day or so. We'll tell you why. 4 people are shot following an altercation at a local bar. One of them is dead tonight. And ready to hit the slopes? We'll have the details straight ahead. Coming up tonight, just where is the king of pop? We'll have that story. And only minutes from the valley is a winter wonderland ready for your skis and snowboard. We'll have the details.
I'm Jennifer Gladstone. Osama bin Laden is recruiting terrorists right here in the U.S., and we'll tell you how. And the letters JFK are synonymous with Camelot, charisma, and conspiracy.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for watching the WB Las Vegas News at 10. I'm Kristine Uyeno. Just where is Michael Jackson? Well, let's take a live look at where many believe he is staying. That's a live picture of Green Valley Ranch. It's where the king of pop finally ended up yesterday after a unique tour of parts of Las Vegas. The WB's Kevin Surette was there today and has more.
It was a very uneventful day for Michael Jackson fans as the pop star stayed out of the reach of the media and his supporters. The hotel where he is supposedly staying quiet as well, but security tighter than ever, and that has many to believe he's still occupying a room at the Green Valley Ranch and Casino. No one knows what room or just how long Jackson will be staying, but those who were inside Green Valley Ranch today say all was quiet, so quiet it was hard to know anything was happening. But others knew something was different as casino security blocked every entrance and checked all ID before guests could go to their rooms. No one knows why Jackson continues to stay in Las Vegas. Some like his presence, others say he's putting a bad light on the city. But his true supporters say they will stand by him and welcome him until he decides to fly home.
This is an older one. This is my daughter in '97 when she met him. This one is of my son. This is all just 2 weeks ago. He's a very nice man.
And that was the WB's Kevin Surette reporting in a last live look at Green Valley Ranch, and still no sign of Michael Jackson. Now, sources close to the family tell us because the pop star could not decide where to go, he wound up at the presidential suite in Green Valley Ranch. The WB's Christine Harrington has that part of our story.
Green Valley Ranch. It's where Michael led the media last night. And so far, no sign of the pop star leaving. People close to the family say Joe Jackson is now relieved to have Michael back in Las Vegas.
Well, he feel better because Michael went and did what the authorities asked him, turn himself in and try to get this behind him.
The past week, an emotional one for people close to the pop star. First, the sexual abuse allegations, and then the arrest warrant for Michael.
I think all this allegation is a lot of baloney. You know, what you don't know, you don't know.
The star finished shooting his music video Wednesday in Las Vegas. And CMX studio executives say not only are they still loyal to Michael, but they still believe he's marketable.
Talent always wins. Okay, you can have a good name, you can have a bad name, but talent always wins in the game of entertainment.
Now only the court of public opinion will determine the star's future success, while the court of law determines his guilt.
The WB's Christine Harrington reporting. Now, there are many rumors about the gloved one and his connection to Las Vegas. Some say he owns a villa at the Mirage, while others say his parents live here. Well, sorting out the facts can be a challenge due to the elusive nature of the Jackson family. However, we can tell you Michael's mother and father indeed do live here and own a home in the Southwest. And Michael does not own a villa in the Strip Hotel. That story is merely a mirage. A drive-by shooting kills a North Las Vegas teen and shakes up an entire neighborhood. The WB's Suzie Suh joins us in studio with an update. Suzie?
That's right, Christine. And speaking with some of the residents in that neighborhood today, there is just a combination of tears and fears. Neighbors mourning the death of a familiar face at the same time are scared for their own lives.
Tanisha Turner, she did not deserve anything. She was the sweetest little girl.
The sweetest girl was playing in her front yard when shots were fired.
I heard boom, 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 boom.
And then I called her mom. I said, it's Tanisha home. She said, maybe Tanisha just got killed.
Just after 5:30 p.m. last night, gunfire was exchanged between a group of people standing on a sidewalk and a vehicle passing on Hassel Street. Tanisha caught in the crossfire.
No, this is the first time I actually witnessed something like this before.
Today, increased police patrols in the North Las Vegas neighborhood sends a disturbing reminder to residents.
Everybody knows this is a bad neighborhood.
Especially for Julius Robinson, whose vehicles are now permanently scarred by last night's violence.
You know, honestly, I don't know nobody over here that don't got a gun.
And many say bidding their farewells to a friend is difficult when tears too quickly reinforce their fears.
That's why I'm staying in the house.
What I do now is what I've been doing. Just go to work every day and keep a good eye out on everything else that happens around this fence right here.
And police are looking for a white 80s model Chrysler New Yorker with unknown license plates believed to have been involved in the drive-by shooting. Anyone with information is urged to contact the North Las Vegas Police. In the studio, Suzie Suh for the WB Las Vegas News at 10. Kristine.
All right, thanks, Susie. And investigators are now in the process of interviewing several witnesses in this case. Well, it's time to hold on to your hats. Officials in Clark County have issued an air quality advisory for the valley. Officials say winds of up to 35 miles an hour and gusts of up to 45 miles an hour are expected to blow through here and will be kicking up dust in the area. The advisory will remain in effect through Saturday morning. Southern Nevada will ring in the new year with a drought alert due to falling water levels at Lake Mead, which provides most of the region's drinking water. The Southern Nevada Water Authority voted unanimously to move the region from drought watch to drought alert beginning January 1st. The move clears the way for tougher restrictions. For example, washing your car at home and misting systems will be banned, and grass will be prohibited on front lawns for new residential projects. Clark County Commissioner Rory Reed says the drought alert designation is another opportunity to let the public know we have a problem. But no problem so far on the slopes this year because it's a new year up at the Las Vegas Ski and Snowboard Resort. The WB's Carrie Cass takes us up on the mountain for a preview.
It doesn't happen very often, but this year the Las Vegas Ski and Snowboard Resort up in Lee Canyon is opening 2 days earlier than usual. That's 2 days before Thanksgiving.
You know, we're always hoping for big snow around here. We're off to a good start. There's snow on the ground.
This week, an announcement. They'd been purchased by Powder Corporation, a big name in ski resorts. But they say they're not making any major changes, at least not yet. What they are making is snow.
Snowmaking's been going great. We have cold temperatures forecast.
Temperatures up here on the mountains can get down to the 20s and 30s, so you want to make sure you have the right equipment, like a really good jacket. And of course, a pair of really good gloves. And of course, the bright snow can make you squint a lot, which can give you a headache. So you want to make sure you have a really good pair of goggles. Last but not least, you'll really need a hat to keep your head warm. The better prepared you are, the more fun you're going to have up on the mountain.
Taking a lesson could make it even more fun. Don't have skis? Don't worry. If you sign up for lessons, the equipment is free. But even if you already know what you're doing, you can rent the whole shebang. $25 for the snowboard stuff, $16 for the ski stuff.
They're expecting a really big snowstorm here this weekend, which means big snow. And big snow means really big business. I'm Carrie Cast for Gold 33 News at 7.
The Las Vegas Ski and Snowboard Resort will open Tuesday. Lift tickets are $32 for adults and $25 for kids. For more information, you can go to their website at skilasvegas.com. So what kind of weather can we expect here in the valley? It's time now to check in with Megan Galeros for our first forecast. Megan?
Thanks a lot, Christine. Big changes on the way to the Las Vegas Valley, and they're coming in the shape of a deep trough in the jet stream. That trough shoving some pretty cool temperatures our way, 5 to 10 degrees below average tomorrow. If you're heading up to northern or central Nevada, temperatures 10 to 15 degrees below average. And not only that, but we have got a wind advisory in effect tonight and Saturday, 25 to 35 mile an hour, sustained winds gusting to 50. We'll have more details on the winds and the cold weather coming up. Christine.
Thanks, Megan. And coming up on the WB Las Vegas News at 10, if plans are to build a state-of-the-art cancer facility in Las Vegas, these are the people who can help make it happen. And it's big, it's empty, and why this guy is there is anyone's guess. Entertainment news is also ahead.
And I'm Jennifer Gladstone. Next from News Central, the U.S. military is not the only one looking for some new recruits, and how one moment in history molded the world we live in.
Guests and one vision, and that is to build one of the most advanced state-of-the-art cancer treatment centers in the country. Both local and national celebrities streamed into the Siegfried and Roy Theater to raise money for the Nevada Cancer Institute. When complete, the center will act as a resource for physicians by spreading discoveries to the medical community.
And I like participating in events dealing with health, and it's important that Vegas, which is the #1 city in America in cancer percentage-wise, have a center like this, and they're well on the way. I think it'll be up in a year and a half.
This is the first time the Siegfried and Roy Theater was open to the public since Roy was attacked. The benefit raised $2.6 million. Nevada's jobless rate dropped slightly to 5% during October, thanks to a stronger national economy and job growth in the Reno and Las Vegas areas. The job growth was due in part to an increase in temporary jobs, but state officials say temporary employees can often become permanent workers. The number of out-of-work Nevadans decreased by about 3,600 to 52,700 from month to month. An early morning shooting at a Las Vegas downtown bar leaves 1 dead, 3 injured, and 2 men in custody. It began when police chased a pickup truck exiting the Pepe's Bar parking lot on East Charleston Boulevard. They arrested 2 men when the truck stopped on Lewis Avenue after winding through a residential neighborhood. They found a gun that they think was tossed from the truck during the chase. A police watch commander says 1 man died in the parking lot and a man and woman were taken by ambulance to UMC. Another showed up at the hospital with a gunshot wound. All 3 are expected to survive. No names have been released. 3 current and former Clark County politicians say they're innocent of federal charges in a corruption case. Clark County Commissioner Mary Kincaid Chauncey and former Commissioners Dario Herrera and Lance Malone each pleaded not guilty this morning before a U.S. magistrate in Las Vegas. It was their first court appearance since being indicted November 6. They're accused of accepting money and gifts from strip club owner Michael Ghilardi in return for favorable votes. Malone faces a racketeering charge and the others extortion. The judge in the case told Malone he cannot travel outside Nevada, California, and Utah. Ghilardi has already pleaded guilty in Las Vegas and is said to be cooperating with federal investigators. Well, it's good to drink water, but believe it or not, too much can kill.
21-year-old Braylon Curry was dazed and incoherent by the time he arrived at the hospital, according to Dallas police.
That is a dangerous sign because when that confusion starts happening, it means the brain swelling is getting quite severe, and the next stage after that is to actually either lose consciousness or to have seizure activity.
He was suffering from hyponatremia, or water intoxication, in his case the result of what friends describe as a water drinking contest. Water is essential for the body to function properly, but too much dilutes sodium in the body, and excess water in the bloodstream causes the brain to expand, creating pressure on the part of the brain that controls breathing. Most victims are marathon runners who take 5 or 6 hours to finish the race.
By continuing to drink throughout a longer period of race, racing, they put themselves at risk.
But doctors say anyone involved in strenuous activity in the heat for more than 4 hours with lots to drink can have problems. The human body normally excretes between 26 and 32 fluid ounces every hour, so you can drink almost a quart an hour continuously, and the body won't retain it. But under certain conditions like stress and nausea, the body retains more water. Drinking more at that point can lead to potentially fatal brain swelling. The best advice from experts: only drink when you're thirsty. Then it's unlikely you'll get too much of a good thing. In Washington, I'm Christy Feig.
Looking for something to do this weekend? Here's a glance at what you can see in theaters now. A struggling actor accepts a job to pay the bills, but that job winds up costing him his place in our universe. His assignment was simple: deliver a mysterious blue package to a deserted truck stop. So what could be the harm in that, you ask? Well, let's just say our hero lands in a parallel universe full of bizarre and dangerous locals who pass their time searching for aliens. For him, life there is just one big empty. The big empty is rated R. And be sure to catch that cat. Which cat? Well, the Cat in the Hat, of course. The action movie starring Mike Myers and Kelly Preston opens today in theaters everywhere. And after the break, their legal troubles behind them, the boys from Cheyenne take to the field to settle their final score.
And I'm Jennifer Gladstone. Next from News Central, the U.S. military is not the only one looking for some new recruits, and how one moment in history molded the world we live in.
A terrorist group takes aim at America. They can talk the talk, but can they convince people to join up? Hi everyone, I'm Jennifer Gladstone. Here's the latest from News Central. Al-Qaeda and Osama bin Laden want you. The terrorist network is a recruiting powerhouse, and it's now trying to tap into America by speaking our language. Washington Bureau Chief John Lieberman has our report.
We promise that we will not let you live safely, and you will not see from us anything else, just bombs, fire, destroying homes, cutting your heads.
You may have seen part of this tape. It's the videotaped will of 4 suspected homicide bombers posted on an Al-Qaeda website. These men are apparently responsible for the Riyadh bombings last month. But did you see this?
And it doesn't matter what's your nationality or your color. After you accept Islam, if any enemy attacked you, I will do what I can, even if it costs my life, to save you.
This was in English. Why English? Because they're trying to spread their recruitment centers.
The fact Al-Qaeda is trying to recruit new members is nothing new. What is new, terrorism expert Rita Katz says, is using English to do it.
Speaking in English indicates that they don't want to approach only to the Arabic speaker. They want everyone to hear them. They want to be heard everywhere.
With every successful attack, it is able to go back to its pool of recruits and say, look how powerful we are, look how effective we are. God really is with us.
And it doesn't stop there. We have learned Al-Qaeda is publishing a bi-weekly online magazine. It's about 40 pages long and includes tales from the battlefield, stories of American torture, and interviews with top Al-Qaeda leaders.
It just shows that their propaganda committee is very much alive, is very strong, I would say more than ever before.
How do Al-Qaeda members who are always on the run have the time to put out a magazine every 2 weeks? Senior fellow at the Washington Institute, Matthew Levitt, says a laptop and a hotel room could be all it takes.
It's very, very easy to do, and it's very easy to do under the radar.
I'm John Lieberman for News Central.
And this brings us to our question of the day. Do you think Al-Qaeda websites written in English will help lead officials to the terrorist? Log on to newscentral.tv and tell us what you think, and we'll have the results for you tomorrow night. The Muslim holy month of Ramadan is coming to an end, and our government is warning that could bring a rash of new terror attacks. The warning did not include any specific dates, times, or places, but it warns Americans abroad to be alert. Despite the threats, President Bush and British Prime Minister Tony Blair vowed to win the war on terror.
Terrorists are trying to intimidate the free world, and this man will not be intimidated, and neither will I.
When you're attacked by people by these wicked acts, there is only one response that it's possible to make, and that is to get out there and be absolutely upfront and say, we are not tolerating this, we're going to fight back.
Even with the new threats, our terror alert level is still steady at yellow. Lots of people are trying to claim responsibility for yesterday's bombings in Turkey, and all of them say they have some kind of link to al-Qaeda. One group even posted their claim on the internet. Turkish police have made multiple arrests but won't give any details. 2 car bombs killed 27 people, including the British consul general. After getting the royal treatment, President Bush is back in Washington tonight. His visit to Great Britain was not much different from life here. There were anti-war protests, and the president denounced terrorists, vowing to bring them to justice. This was the first state visit U.S. president has ever made to England. Coalition forces say today's attacks in Baghdad have absolutely no military value, but were just designed to grab headlines and coincide with Ramadan. First, 2 hotels in the capital city were targeted. Rockets slammed into the buildings but caused only minor damage. 2 people were hurt in the attacks, but no one was killed. A hotel manager says she believes her building was targeted because it houses journalists and press agencies. Also today, at least 8 rockets were fired at the Iraqi oil ministry. Again, no one was killed there, and even more attacks may have been thwarted when a donkey cart tipped over and revealed it was loaded with as many as 30 rockets. The energy bill, one of the president's top priorities, may be dead in its tracks. The goal of the $31 billion package is to increase and diversify energy production to make this country less dependent on oil in the future. The House passed it earlier this week, but today it lost steam in the Senate, where detractors say it's too expensive and does not protect the environment. The phone companies failed to hang us up, at least for now. An appeals court just cleared the way for you to be able to switch your landline phone number to your cell phone. A telephone industry group tried to block the FCC's new rule, telling the federal court the switch plan rings unfair to the landline companies. You'll be able to start making that change on Monday. Now it's time for the presidential campaign to really heat up. How do we know that? Well, the RNC is rolling out the president's first commercial, reminding viewers of the powerful State of the Union and addressing criticism. Take a look.
Our war against terror is a contest of will in which perseverance is power. Some have said we must not act until the threat is imminent. Since when have terrorists and tyrants announced their intentions, politely putting us on notice before they strike?
The ad will only run in Iowa and New Hampshire. A former president comes to the rescue of millions of people halfway around the world. Bill Clinton has negotiated a deal with Indian drug makers which will allow AIDS patients to receive medication at a discounted cost. Now, up until now, some 2 million people were fighting the virus. They had no access to prescription drugs.
The most important thing is we have a good chance to save millions of lives and avoid having 100 million AIDS cases by the year 2010.
Now, Africa is dealing with a similar crisis situation, so representatives from their governments visited India with Clinton to try to help. Now that Michael Jackson is facing multiple child molestation charges, the question is, should authorities allow him to see his own 3 children? There have been previous accusations. Jackson himself has talked about having sleepovers with children, and then there's the time he dangled his son over a balcony. Now, here's a look at some of the stories making headlines across America tonight. He's been dubbed the naked photographer, but today, suspect Stephen Lennon showed up in an Ohio courtroom fully clothed. He's accused of sneaking up on women wearing only a cap and sunglasses. You see, their shock was his Kodak moment. Now Lennon is charged with public indecency and assault. Rebecca Sneed is proud to say, "I married a murderer." She exchanged vows with Lyle Menendez in a California state prison yesterday, but it will seem like a lifetime till their honeymoon. You see, conjugal visits are prohibited there. Jurors in the Malvo trial have a lot to think about this weekend. Just before they left court today, they heard a wiretap of the teen sniper suspect talking to police. He's heard telling officers the shootings were carefully planned and that he sometimes returned to the scenes to watch the police. And John Muhammad will have to wait until at least Monday to find out if he will live or die. Jurors deliberated for 4 hours today in the penalty phase and sent 2 questions to the judge, but still no decision. Both cases will resume on Monday. December 7th, September 11th, and November 22nd. They are all days that changed America forever. Tomorrow is the anniversary of one of those days. It is the 40th anniversary of the murder of John F. Kennedy. Tonight, we spoke with one of the country's foremost experts on Kennedy's death. He answers the questions: what happened to the president and what happened to us that day in Dallas.
In Dallas, Texas, 3 shots were fired at President Kennedy's motorcade in downtown Dallas.
Politics brought Kennedy to Texas on November 22nd, 1963. It was a campaign stop. He was worried about not winning Texas in the 1964 election.
I can see Mrs. Kennedy's pink suit. There's a Secret Service man spread eagle over the top of the car.
That's the moment many things changed. After the shooting, a lot of our trust in government disappeared, making way for things like Vietnam, Watergate, the hostages, even Lewinsky. To this day, the Kennedy presidency and assassination sparked debate, but more importantly, that event changed us. Gus Russo has studied the Kennedy assassination for 2 decades. He says that wasn't a true picture of American life in the early 1960s.
The cliche is that when Kennedy was murdered, we lost our innocence, but I don't believe that. We lost the facade of innocence. So we were living in a fictitious dream world that didn't really exist. Just ask any person of color who lived in America in the 50s if this was a dream world, and if we had any innocence regarding civil rights or foreign policy. Tell that to the Iranians that we overthrew governments in the 50s, or Central America. It was a fiction. It was going to burst sometime.
A 10-month investigation determined Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone, firing the fatal shots from the Texas School Book Depository's 6th floor. Oswald was killed days later in a Dallas parking garage by Jack Ruby. But that's about as far as the investigation went back then, because some were afraid at what they might find.
There was some cover-ups involved in this case having to do with foreign policy. Documents that couldn't be revealed, operations that couldn't be revealed, sources, methods, and all that secrecy contributed to the conspiracy talk. By and large, what happened, in my opinion, and I feel fairly confident about this now, Oswald shot the president. The government was worried that Cuba was behind it, and they were too frightened to tell the public that, and too frightened to even investigate that. So that's where we are all these years later. That's the one remaining mystery.
Russo says it was Oswald's murder that launched all the conspiracy talk. The evidence still points to one gunman, but why he did it may never be known. There are no less than 9 Kennedy documentaries on television this week. Russo worked on 2 of them. There were 4 people in the car that day in Dallas. The only one who's still alive is the former First Lady of Texas, Nellie Connolly. On this eve of the anniversary, she spoke with News Central.
Mr. President, you can't say Dallas doesn't love you. And that may have been the last thing he ever heard. I just saw his hands fly up, and then I saw him just sink down in the seat. He said nothing at all. And he just had a sort of a vacant look in his eyes, and that was it.
We'll bring you much more from Connolly as we mark the anniversary tomorrow night. This pageant is dragging the mayor's eye.
For millions of Americans, this month is a critical time for their health. It's the open enrollment period when you make choices on next year's health insurance coverage, with rates expected to rise 10% next year. Darby Mulani tells us what we should all be looking out for.
You've received the mailing, seen the flyers, your email is full. All reminders, this is open enrollment season, the time to decide what health care coverage you want for the year ahead. For many, this important decision is put off until the last minute because choosing is so complicated. But if you do your homework, you could save yourself some money and hassle later on.
I think first, employees ought to sit at their kitchen tables, spread out their offerings, and look particularly at a couple of important things. Where are they comfortable getting their health care? What type of arrangement? Do they want a PPO? Do they want with more choice? Do they want an HMO? Are they comfortable there?
Executive Assistant Tanya Hassan weighed her options and decided choice was the most important consideration. She opted for a plan that is pricier than some, but allows her to use any doctor she wants.
I went with the POS plan, which
gave me the flexibility to kind of go with my own doctor and, you know, go to the location I wanted to that was close to work or close to home. So that just made the most sense for me.
Companies also offer health maintenance organizations. These usually cost less, but you must use the doctor and services in the HMO. Experts say the average worker will pay almost $2,600 next year in medical bills, a 156% increase from 5 years ago. Learning your options and weighing them could save you money. Another way to possibly cut costs, flexible spending accounts. Now, many over-the-counter drugs are included. But remember, any money left in your account at the end of the year, you lose. Pouring through healthcare documents may be a hard pill to swallow, but making the right choice could pay off.
I don't know if it's necessarily something you enjoy, but, you know, it's something you have to do, and you try to make it as easy as possible.
Darby Mullaney, CNN Financial News, New York.
The State Public Works Board has selected a Las Vegas-based design-build team to construct a gym and industrial building at the High Desert State Prison near Indian Springs. Clark and Sullivan Constructors of Las Vegas submitted the low bid of just under $10 million for the projects. The gym was planned in the initial design of the prison, but its construction was delayed because of a lack of money. Democratic presidential candidate Dick Gephardt is canceling a Las Vegas campaign stop today in Las Vegas. Aides say he's needed for votes today in Washington on a Medicare prescription drug bill pending before the House. The Missouri congressman had planned to make a brief appearance at McCarran International Airport this afternoon. Aides say Gephardt is planning to reschedule his Las Vegas visit for December 1st. What began as an investigation into a low-level employee is turning into a house cleaning at the Community College of Southern Nevada. Regents have voted to demote President Ron Remington and reassign lobbyist John Cummings. The university system hired a private investigator to look into the hiring and subsequent treatment of a college secretary with links to Assemblyman Wendell Williams. Remington will stay on as a faculty member, but Secretary Topazia Bridget Jones is also keeping her job because a motion to terminate her did not fail. Up next, a new weapon in the battle against aging. More treatments that are injecting new life into people.
Do you have big plans this weekend? Get your coat. It's going to be chilly around the Las Vegas Valley. Those details coming up. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the WB Las Vegas News at 10. It was a gorgeous day around the valley, but it won't stay that high. Only 5 degrees above what we saw today, right at 77. Record low 24 degrees set back in 1945. Our early morning temperature about 48 degrees. Normally this time of year it's about 42, so we were above average on all counts today, but tomorrow we go below average, and we'll stay that way for the rest of the weekend. And you've already noticed the really windy conditions out of the southwest, around 30 miles an hour right now. Current temperature 57 degrees. This is actually warmer than what tomorrow's high temperature will be. So those winds are certainly bringing in some Arctic air. Humidity's at 36%, and the winds are falling, or the pressure rather is falling, at 29.59 inches. We do have a wind advisory in effect tonight and tomorrow. Winds to 25 to 35 mile an hour sustained, gusting to 50 miles an hour, and we'll see southwesterly winds for the time being, switching over to northwesterly as that front presses through the area. So it's going to be rather windy tonight and tomorrow. Hold on to your hats, and any small objects you've got outside on your deck, might want to bring those in. It's going to be quite a windy evening. Not only that, but unfortunately chilly tomorrow as well. Satellite and radar showing partly cloudy skies. It's going to be that way for the remainder of your weekend. We don't really have to worry about any precipitation necessarily. The frontal boundary that's pressing through is not got a lot of moisture associated with it. So although we'll see a lot cooler temperatures making their way in, don't really have to worry about any rain showers. So that's at least one bonus. But all of Clark County, with the exception of the Spring Mountains and the Sheep Range, we are under a wind advisory. And again, you can see winds gusting to about 50 miles an hour tonight and tomorrow. And you can see how chilly that air is that's filtering our way, because we don't see any rain showers up here to the north of us. We've got snow showers, and that weather is heading our way. Now, of course, won't be as chilly as soon as it reaches the Las Vegas Valley, but we are certainly going to see some much cooler than average temperatures making their way in for the rest of the weekend. And that's all coming as this cold front and low pressure system kind of push their way through the area, allowing for some Arctic air to filter as far south as Las Vegas. That's right, we could see temperatures temperatures in the 30s early Sunday morning and early Monday morning. So it's not going to be the most pleasant of weekends. If you're here on vacation, grab a jacket. It's not going to be our typical Las Vegas weather weekend. Temperatures plunge for tomorrow. In fact, our high temperature, or our current temperature of 57 degrees, is warmer than our high temperature for tomorrow. So get ready for a chilly weekend, and it could be even cooler on Sunday. It's not going to be the best of the next 2 days. It's going to be pretty chilly, not that great. 45 degrees North Las Vegas, 45 downtown, 45 Henderson, 46 Boulder City, about 44 out at Nellis. Very windy tonight, partly cloudy skies. As we head into our Saturday, still chilly. 55 for high downtown, 55 Henderson, 57 Boulder City, 55 out at Nellis, and 56 North Las Vegas. Again, very windy. That wind advisory is still in effect for tonight and for tomorrow as well. So keep that in mind. 45 degrees this evening, partly cloudy and windy. Winds out of the west between 20 to 30 miles an hour, gusting to 50. The only change in terms of winds for tomorrow is they're out of the northwest, 20 to 30 miles an hour, gusting to about 45. Partly cloudy, windy, and cooler for your Saturday with a high of only 55 degrees. And it's not like that great for the rest of the weekend either. 52 on Sunday, although it will be less windy. 55 on Monday, 55 on Tuesday, 52 on Wednesday. So get those jackets out, and remember the wind advisory in effect tonight and tomorrow. Christine?
All right, thanks. Well, are you getting the winter blues already? If you are, Guy Ferris has a perfect rental for you, bringing the beach, music, and a party into your living room. In the never-ending battle against aging, advisors to the Food and Drug Administration are considering whether to add some new powerful weapons in the war. Dr. Sanjay Gupta gets us up to date on the next generation of treatments to fight wrinkles.
It functions by drawing water from the surrounding area.
They're being called wrinkle fillers, and the FDA panel has decided that injectable cosmetic treatments called Restylane and Hyaluronic should join Botox on the cosmetic surgery circuit.
And close to 1 million patients have been injected worldwide without any negative effects.
Restylane and Hyaluronic are made from hyaluronic acid. That's a lubricating fluid already produced in the body. When it's injected, it plumps the skin. So far, the results in patients are remarkable. These patients had the area between the nose and mouth injected with Restylane, boosting sagging parts of the skin. Doctors say these newer treatments last twice as long as Botox.
It's a product that lasts for up to a year. As far as Botox injections are very dose dependent.
There are risks to the treatment, however, although most of them temporary. Swelling, redness, discoloration, and bruising can result from the injections, and patients also run the risk of getting lumps under the skin or having too much injected. Many side effects can be avoided by proper injection by a certified doctor.
I absolutely believe that Restylane is the next big thing. It's a natural product, it's a safe product, does not require a skin test, and lasts a long time. Are you okay?
Dr. Sanjay Gupta, CNN, Atlanta.
Well, they were told they couldn't, but the boys of Cheyenne are preparing to take to the field. That's next in sports. Stay with us. The Cheyenne football team will have another shot at the playoffs. Tomorrow's game between Cheyenne and Palo Verde High Schools is back on. School officials and the Nevada Interscholastic Activities Association dropped plans to try to block Cheyenne from playing after a Clark County District Court judge ruled that her temporary restraining order remains in effect. The NIAA has been trying to punish Cheyenne for a post-game fight between its players and another team earlier this month. The PGA comes to Las Vegas, and local kids stand to benefit the most from its presence. The 7th annual PGA Tour of Charities will be played Sunday at the TPC in Summerlin. The event begins at noon and runs until 3. More than 500 kids are invited, and will get a chance to see some celebrity golfers like Chris Kiley and Dean Wilson. It's time now to check in with Mark Armstrong for a look at more sports. Mark?
Hey everybody, Mark Armstrong here at Sports Central. Rivalry week is upon us, a time when you don't need the Hatfield McCoys around to hate your neighbor. All they have to do is pull for the wrong team. Here's a look at just a few of the big Saturday battles.
Fires in zone, intercepted. Let's party, Columbus.
The biggest throwdown tomorrow is known simply as the game. Ohio State and Michigan at the Big House. Winning would be sweet enough for the favored Wolverines, but doubly so because it would also squash the Buckeyes' BCS hopes.
It's going to be the biggest event going on in the world on Saturday, here in Ann Arbor. It's not going to be another place in the world that has 110,000 people.
There aren't any rivalry ramifications to LSU, Mississippi, but folks in Oxford are calling this the biggest game there in the last 50 years. They won over the third-ranked Tigers, and they'd be playing for the SEC title for the first time since 1963.
They are the best team defensively that we're going to face all season. They got a lot of talent. They're real big up front, good linebackers, and good secondary, and they make a lot of plays.
Auburn, Alabama. No need to say more. The fact that both teams have wet the bed this year and will still be fierce is proof that it doesn't get much better than the Iron Bowl.
It's been a tough year on us. It's been a tough year on them. But you can throw all that out the window.
And just because I'm the host of this here 5 Minutes, how about a little Holy War? One of the best rivalries you've never heard of. Utah and BYU will duke it out in Provo. My Utes should pummel the Dirty Cougs and take home their first outright conference title since 1957. More football. The Raider 4 who tested positive for THG prior to the NFL outlawing it can breathe a little easier, at least for now. The NFL and the Players Union still negotiating.